extremely busy right now trying to get from point A to point B, so we do appreciate what you're doing in terms of keeping the public aware of what's going on. And just so you'll know, as you leave, we have hand sanitizer out this door, so you can wash your hands as you move on to your next assignment. Of course, we're here today to talk about COVID-19, and I have joining me our City Administrator, Alan Rice, our Police Chief, Nick Durzis, Fire Chief Clay Bentley, our 911 Director, Linda Moore, our PIO, Melanie Posey, and our City Attorney, Philip Corley. So we're all aware of the situation created by the COVID-19 pandemic. As the Mayor of Hoover, my highest obligation is to protect the health and welfare of our citizens and our visitors. With this in mind, I've instructed our staff to take several measures designed to prevent the spread of the disease, maintain critical city services, and hedge against the negative economic impact that this event is very likely to create. We are operating under the National Incident Management System and using an incident action plan to guide our response to this event. We've been in contact with our state and local health departments and emergency management agencies. I've also coordinated with the other mayors of Alabama's 10 largest cities, and I'm meeting this week with the Jefferson County mayors and the over the mountain mayors groups as well. We're also coordinating closely with Hoover City Schools, and I'm meeting later today with Dr. Kathy Murphy, our school superintendent, and we will continue to support our schools' efforts as they deal with issues created by the extended closure of the school system. We are assimilating all of the information we receive and are sharing best practices with each other to provide for a coordinated and an effective response. Today, I'm issuing an executive order that gives clear guidance and direction to our staff. The order contains specific information and instructions that will protect the wellness of the public and our employees, along with developing plans for our staff to work remotely and in shifts so that we can provide all of the services that our public depends on. Another important aspect of this order is to begin right now to conserve city financial resources so that we can weather the difficult economic times that this pandemic is expected to cause. As our business community suffers from an economic slowdown, we must anticipate that tax revenue will decline and we will have less money to operate the city in the coming months. In partnership with the Hoover City Council and our outstanding employees, I'm confident that we will emerge from this situation as a stronger and better city. Hoover will remain a very desirable place to live, work, play, and raise a family. We will not panic, but we will plan, we'll prepare, and we will take action to manage the events happening in our world. I know that brighter days are ahead. With that, I'm happy to take any questions, and certainly anyone from the staff. We are here prepared to answer any questions that you may have today. Thank you very much.
Mayor, could you talk a little about what you're advising in terms of businesses and closures?
Yes. Every action that we are taking, we are following CDC guidelines and certainly guidelines that are published by the Jefferson County Health Department as well as our state health officer. So that's the message here. Follow the guidelines that the health officials have put out, and we will arrest this virus and at the very least slow it down. So that is what I'm recommending. Continue to follow all of the guidelines that have been put out by our health professionals.
Mayor, what percentage of the employees are being asked to work from home?
We are developing that plan right now and setting up, working with IT and having our department heads identify individuals that we can release to work at home.
Oh, that's another one. What impact is this going to have on first responders, chiefs? thoughts
I'll be-
on the
yeah.
ability to?
Yeah.
Are they going to be in the same vehicles, obviously, or are you going to have to cut back on staffing at all?
Yeah, I'm going to let, if the police chief step up first and answer that, and then if the fire chief would come in after that.
We're in the process right now of actually having a meeting downstairs as we speak to talk about it. Obviously, with schools being closed, it gives us additional police officers that are school resource officers in all of our schools that after today won't be working in those in that capacity. So we're talking about potentially letting, kind of shift this thing. Instead of all patrol people working, we may let a group off for 7 days, let them kind of incubate themselves, have the others work, so everybody isn't coming in contact with everybody. Obviously, we've asked our communications personnel to ask additional questions when people are calling in for reports and so forth. We'll try to limit access. If it's just a report that needs to be taken, we can take that over the telephone instead of having to send a police officer out there. So again, this is very fluid. We're still making recommendations today, and hopefully have a plan here, hopefully by after lunch today.
Before we get the chief, what's your biggest concern?
We just don't want all of our personnel to come in contact with something to kind of put us out of work. Obviously, we've got a job to do 24/7, 365, and do everything we can to try to limit exposure to our personnel when we can.
Well, I think as everyone's aware, we are prepared and we continue to prepare for this as everything changes. This is evolving every day, and our members are well versed on personal protective equipment and how to treat patients who suffer from illnesses similar to this, and we continue to work toward that. We're limiting the number of people that we expose on emergencies, on calls that exhibit signs and symptoms of this virus, so that we don't contaminate the entire crew. We have decontamination procedures in place that our people are very familiar with, and we keep up with this on a daily basis. We're meeting multiple times a day to make sure that we're doing everything we can to protect our personnel, who in fact protect you.
Could you walk me through the decontamination process once the personnel return to the station?
Yes, sir. We follow the CDC recommendations, the Alabama Department of Public Health recommendations, and we speak with our medical control physician, who is a UAB doctor, who gives us guidance each day on how to decon these type of events, depending on the severity of the event.
How are you going to address rescue situations with members of the public?
I'm not exactly.
In coming in physical contact with people, I mean, what are you looking at in those types of situations?
We follow what the CDC and Alabama Department of Public Health recommends. We wear minimum of medical gloves on all calls. We always do that. And then if, as Chief Durzis had mentioned, if our 911 operators see that this is a potential issue or they have signs and symptoms of something that may be concerning, then we address that differently.
Mayor, that's my question. What kind of impact economically are you guys seeing so far? I know it's only been the last week or so, but what kind of impact economically is Hoover?
Well, we're seeing very busy grocery stores, certainly an uptick in that. We are seeing a slowdown in some of our small businesses. That's naturally going to occur. It's occurring throughout the country. We have the ability to monitor our daily receipts, so we know how we're doing. So we're in a good position to monitor ourselves financially through this long run, and to start to, in the next few days, few weeks ahead, to start making some projections about where we may be going. So it's very early on, but I'm very proud of our financial department and the analytics that they can provide us. I think it's going to really be extremely important when we start determining what cuts may need to be made, if cuts need to be made, or where they need to be made. I know that at some point we're going to have to start doing that. But I'm very proud that we at least have that type of information that we can make really good, sound judgments and decisions on.
Should the Hoover residents be prepared at some point to see a drop in services at any time?
No, they should not. We are prepared to continue to deliver the services that we've always delivered. This is not the first financial crisis that our country has faced nor our city has faced. And so we're very prepared, and we understand what we need to do and how we're going to handle it. And I'm very confident that our city will come out better on the other side, and that we will continue to deliver the world-class police, fire services that our citizens are so used to having now. And we've just got a great group of individuals. They're very dedicated, and we know what to do.
Mayor, I know you're not actually over this, but any thoughts about the mall?
Again, the mall is not closed. It's not going to close unless some directive comes from the federal government that would take that type of drastic action. Again, we want to make sure that we are following the guidelines that the health professionals have put out there: social distancing, washing your hands, all of the things that they have talked about. We can't practically shut the entire country down. And so the only way we're going to arrest this virus is to follow those guidelines. And we've got to be very diligent in doing those types of things. Just as I said, we have hand washing material for you as you leave here. Please do it. We are making every effort in this city to make sure that our employees have all of the PPE, the personal protective equipment that they need. The hand sanitizers. We're going overboard with cleaning our facility. And that's going on throughout the entire city, and I believe throughout the entire country. But with that said, you as individuals, we as individuals have to be smart about our movement through society during this time.
Mayor, are you aware, is there any effort underway to assist small businesses in any way? What the situation they're facing from a city standpoint?
Say that, John, I didn't
Is there
quite.
any effort underway to assist small businesses in what they're facing?
My plan right now is to get with Birmingham Business Alliance, our Chamber of Commerce, and to talk to them, because they're at the front line of hearing this information, how it's affecting their businesses. I'm meeting in about 10 days with the mayors from around the state as well. And we want to come together and to be able to talk about some of those issues. What are some of the things that we can do? I've not heard from any businesses per se just yet, because I don't think that it's, the impact hasn't really hit them. But we certainly, that is part of our plan to address those things that are going to hit our businesses in the near future.
One last question, Mayor. The CDC yesterday, and I think the health department just reiterated that, they're asking any gatherings of 50 or more to be curtailed, especially the CDC said for the next, I think, 8 weeks.
Yes.
That would obviously impact sports gatherings, and of course there's a major sports event that Hoover hosts in the end of May. Or is there any concern that that may be at risk now?
Well, let's face it, everything's at risk. All sporting events are at risk. So we will certainly continue to discuss with the SEC any plans that they have. I mean, that is really in their ball court, so to speak. We have some events that occur throughout the city that certainly bring more than 50 people to those gatherings, and we're identifying those that will fall within that 8-week period, and we'll start canceling those. So we're seeing events already canceled on their own. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming out today.